Hey guys, so watch this video for, let me double check here. Yeah, Wednesday, August 11th. Another narrow, very narrow range on the SPY. This is typical August trading, low volume. Some nice calls in chat. I'm just going to highlight a couple. NRXP for the 5-minute candles. Hold on, I got after hours on there. All right, NRXP. Wayne called this long at 1680, which you kind of had a little cup and handle right here, and it was sort of the handle break right there, and went all the way to 1975 on about 25 cents risk. Really nice call by Wayne. And EJH, which has been on bounce watch for several days in a row, had this volume spike, and I call it like a Tokyo entry, and I want to say around 495 or something. I think I got filled at 497. As you know, on a Tokyo, the worst case stop is below that same candle. So it was about 20 cents risk. And it took a while to get going, but then we finally got our, there's the early high, right? We finally got our afternoon high of day break. And with selling into, I actually bought more for the high of day break and then sold most of my shares up in this area. So I had a decent little trade in that one. So there's just a couple of highlights from today. What are we watching for tomorrow? FSR gapped up. Closed about where it opened, though, after 50 million shares traded hands. It ends up kind of with a flat close, but definitely worth watching tomorrow. I typed this one wrong. ZEV, big breakout today, and a fairly strong close. We're going to watch that for some kind of follow-through day. EJH, which, again, ugly chart, but I'm putting this on long watch. We'll just go to 15-minute candles and get that big move out of it. You can see the big volume that came in today, bigger than on 15-minute candles, bigger than anything in the last few days. And the interesting thing is it topped out at 561 and yesterday's high 569. So back through back through 560 tomorrow, you've got today's high and yesterday's high. And really even the day before that, you kind of have a stacked catalyst scenario. So one ugly daily chart, but at the same time, you could say less than 2 weeks ago, this was almost 30 bucks, right? And it's trading in the five. So that is kind of a decent setup for what could be, like a short squeeze bounce. So I like the looks of that one. UONE had the pop yesterday that topped out at 810. Today topped out at 793. Quiet inside day. So we're looking for a long, probably over today's high, looking for a quick push through yesterday's high. And who knows, maybe a squeeze, right? HOOD, I've had it on bounce watch for a few days. No trigger in it, so no trade in it, but it just goes back on bounce watch. I already talked about this one in last night's video. It's an ugly daily chart. And you had the big pop here 4 sessions ago. And now you've kind of round tripped from where it gapped up to that day. But as I said in the video last night, this thing ran from like 10 bucks to 15.46 in one session. So now you're a few days lower on much smaller volume. So if I can get a bounce play trigger, I will try this just because of that big move it made 4 days ago. But it's got to be an A+ setup. AMD, kind of a little bit of a bottoming tail today, turned right in the middle of that 5 buy zone. It actually gave downside shape right here. I was considering calling like a PFPD right there, and I never did. I never got involved in that thing today. But it didn't, let's go to 15. It didn't get the afternoon, here's the early high, right? So we still didn't get the afternoon high of day break. So you could argue we still didn't get a bounce play trigger. So we put it back on watch for tomorrow. BT. Strongest stock in the whole world up until the last couple days. Bitcoin related, bit of a bottoming tail, but that goes back on bounce watch for tomorrow. Groupon, GRPN, ugly chart. 4 days in a row just getting decimated here after a big gap up, by the way. But I'm just looking for an oversold bounce. This thing's fallen from 41.66 3 sessions ago to a low of 26.12 today. So pretty good bounce play setup. Again, as a day trader, I'm looking for a snapback bounce. I don't hold anything overnight. Don't even hold my wife overnight. WPRT, the big pop here, and a couple quiet inside days. So that goes back on long watch. SRNE kind of had a nice pop yesterday and a quiet inside day today. And maybe that whole number 9 comes into play with the with yesterday's high at 918. What did it hit back here? 917. So kind of over 918 is a little mini breakout on the chart too. So you kind of have a stacked catalyst scenario. UPST gapping. I got a couple of gap plays on watch. One of them is UPST, which in after hours right now is trading at $155.28. Actually, while I was making my watch list, I still had the chat room open. I watched Wayne make like $10 a share from 150 to 160 in after hours. Again, he's a great process-driven trader. He follows the process better than anybody I know. I'm more emotional than he is. He's like a freaking robot. But if you want to learn more about the process that he employs on such a disciplined basis, if you're watching this video on YouTube, it'll be in the description below, a link to our free webinars. If you're watching it from the web page that I post the video on every night, there's a link below on that page too to our free webinars. It's a great way to get an insight into our trading process. And then lastly, so that's UPST, potential gap play, and then Fubo, which had earnings after the bell, is trading at 32.20 in after hours. So 30, there's 30. So somewhere right about where my cursor is. So another possible gap play. I'll add other gappers to this list in the pre-market. And remember, it's lower volume August trading. So, you know, cut your position size a little bit. And as Wayne was saying in chat today, maybe give things a little more wiggle room within the parameters that we teach. But if you trade smaller, that will allow you to do that more easily. All right. Anyway, I'm done babbling. I'll see you guys in the chat room in the morning.